Okay, second graders, today we're starting personal narrative writing. The materials you'll need today are your yellow writing folder and a white piece of paper. Yesterday, you should have worked on your personal narrative pre-assessment. I'd like you to go to this page and it tells us the topics for each day. So yesterday, you should have worked on your pre-assessment. So I'm going to put a check mark there. Now I'm switching lessons 2 and 3. We're doing this in a little bit of a different order. So I'd like you to cross off 2 and 3, put 3 here and 2 here. Today we're doing lesson 2. What are personal narratives? And this is our objective. I can identify the features of a personal narrative. So we're going to think about all of the parts of a personal narrative after we look at some examples. I have 2 student examples. One of my students wrote this story called Snow, this personal narrative. Another one of my students wrote this personal narrative called Butterflies in My Stomach. We are going to read Snow together, and then you're going to read Butterflies in My Stomach on your own. While I'm reading the story Snow to you, I really want you to think about, what do you notice? So how is this a personal narrative? Think about what you notice about this story, and I'm also going to think about it. Me and my dad were driving to one of our relatives' houses. We were in Maine, where I always go for Thanksgiving. I was 3. I squirmed in my seat. The car started to move. I was so excited, I forgot we were going to the park. Where are we going, I wondered, just before the car stopped so suddenly that my face bonked into the seat in front of me. I peeked out the window. I saw a vast field of grass. What is that white thing on the grass, I wondered, feeling a little hot. Suddenly, the engine stopped. My dad unbuckled my seatbelt and put on my coat. When he opened the door, I jumped on top of the grass, laughing. Immediately, I shivered. Walking slowly, I went over to the white thing that covered the grass. What is that? I asked curiously. Snow, my dad answered. It's cold, I whispered to the wind, blowing my face. I touched the snow wearing my mittens. It was not very cold. A few seconds later, it disappeared. Where did it go? I wondered in dismay. I used my hands to scoop a big handful of snow again and again. Should I eat it? I wondered hopefully, putting the snow close to my mouth. I nibbled at a corner for a little. My teeth still chattered. I was nervous. Was I supposed to eat it? I felt the snow slide down my throat, melting. After making a mini snowman, I had to go. I jumped on top of it and carried the hands, hat, nose, eyes, and buttons to the car. I cried. I did not want to leave. Okay, let's see, what do I notice here? So one thing I'm noticing is dialogue. Dialogue is when people are speaking. She wrote, "What is that?" I asked curiously. "Snow," my dad answered. So I'm going to put on my list that I'm noticing that this has dialogue. So another thing I'm noticing is that there are transition words here. So I'm like seeing the word suddenly. I'm seeing the phrase a few seconds later. So I'm going to put that it has transition words and phrases. Transition words and phrases help us move from one moment in time to another moment in time, like here, a few seconds later. Let's see what else I notice. I notice that this kind of seems to zoom in on a small moment. It's not talking about the whole week of Thanksgiving, it's talking about this small moment in the snow. So I'm going to write small moment. Now, I want you to think of, can you think of at least one more thing you notice from the story? If you can think of more, that's great. One more thing you notice from this story. After you've thought of at least one more thing you notice, I want you to read this story, Butterflies in My Stomach, on your own or with a parent or a sibling or a friend. And then you're going to add more to your list, more of the things that you notice about personal narratives. So you should come up with a list of all the things you notice about these personal narratives. Okay, bye.